he was born, she took the baby out to her people, and the people started to accuse her. Oh Mary, how can you do such a thing? You're not a, how can you do adultery, fornication? You are the sister of Aaron, means, you're from the lineage of Aaron and Moses, and really good and honored lineage. How can you do such a thing like that? So at that point, Mary, she remained silent. So this is in chapter 19, verse number 30, by the way.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyuzhirahu 'ala dini kullihi wa kafa billahi syahida. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Berjumpa lagi dengan channel saya Marstechno. Saya doakan semoga semua sahabat dalam keadaan sehat selalu. Pada video kali ini kami akan menampilkan bagaimana usaha dakwah seorang dokter Sabel Ahmed yang menjelaskan Islam kepada masyarakat Kristen di Amerika, terutama kepada tetangga-tetangga masjid yang datang ke masjid tempat beliau berdakwah. Beliau dalam penjelasannya sangat santun dan juga tidak emosional, sehingga mereka dapat menerima dakwah Islam. Nah sahabat, mari kita simak saja videonya dan saya akan sedikit mereaksinya.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I start in the name of God, the most beneficent and merciful, and welcome and greet all of you with the Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum. That means, may God's peace be upon each single one of you. Those of you from the Christian background may be aware that this was the greeting that Jesus, peace be upon him, used to give his disciples. From the Gospel of John, chapter 20, verse number 19, when Jesus went to the upper chamber, the very first thing that he mentioned to the disciples are the words, peace be on you, right? So we Muslims, since we follow Jesus, 1.7 billion Muslims, that is also our greeting when we meet and greet other people. With that being said, let me start with this quiz question with all of you. You see a Christmas tree up there. You see some locality up there. Where do you think this is from, by the way? And this is for our guest. Where do you think this is from?
Bethlehem or Nazareth.
There you go. You got it. Wonderful. Have you been there?
No.
Just a guess?
No.
Okay. All right. I took this picture 2 days ago with my camera. So I came here last night, by the way, from Bethlehem. All right. So right now it's my nap time, it's my sleep time. Right. All right. But my presentation would be about certain clips and certain videos and comparative religion in the context of who was Jesus, a beloved prophet according to the Muslim faith. What do you think this is, by the way? Well, okay. It's a house. It's a house apparently of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Now, before I dwell into who was Jesus, the Muslim Jesus, it's important for us to go one step further and look at who was Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon her. And you'll be surprised to find out that in the entire Quran, there is only one woman who is mentioned by name. It is no other than Mary, the mother of Jesus. Isn't that surprising? Not the mother of Muhammad, peace be upon him, not his wife, not his daughter, but a Jewish lady 600 years ago who the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never met. She is the only one mentioned by honor and dignity in the Quran. So she is mentioned 32 times in the Quran. 32 times compared to about 18 times in the New Testament, by the way. Alright, if somebody is taking the notes and keeping the facts and figures, that is really interesting fact about Mary, mentioned that many times in the Quran. This is one of the houses, or the house that she was brought up in. And this is also by Bethlehem, by the way. So now the reason I'm mentioning this is because, Mary, the mother of Jesus, as she is mentioned in the Quran, she's mentioned that from the time that she was growing up, she used to be like a really pious girl. So she was born in the house of Ali Imran, right? Imran, and the family of Imran. And they gave Mary to be brought up by a really pious person. And his name was Zechariah. So as he was bringing her up, and she was like a really young girl, he was really surprised one day that all of a sudden Mary had this really good fruit basket or bunch of fruits, bunch of food next to her. And he knew that it was not her who gave her this basket of fruits. So he became really, really, suspicious and curious. Then he asked Mary, Mary, where did this food, the basket came from? And lo and behold, Mary said, these fruits, it is God who has provided me this too.
Hanya di Al-Qur'an
And it is indeed God who
ini dari
gives
surga.
this to his creatures. So this is mentioned in the Quran, chapter number 3, verse number 37. So speaking about Mary, it's really important for us that as a child, she used to be the most pious lady as she was growing up. However, it's also very important. That's not the actual basket, by the way, right? It's not there, the basket yet. As she was growing up, an angel was sent to Mary by God. And it says in the Quran, chapter number 3, verse number 42. An angel was sent to Mary, and the angel says, "Oh Mary, God has chosen you. God has purified you, and God has chosen you above all the women."
Masya Allah.
I mean, can you imagine the honor given to Mary above all the women of the world, by the way? And that includes all the Muslim women, right? The millions and millions of women who were in the past and present and who are going to come. There is no one who can take as big of an honor as Mary, the mother of Jesus. So that's really important distinction that she has attained by God, the honor that God has given to her. So as she was growing up, as she was still, a young youth, an angel came, sent by God. And the angel said that God has promised, it's a prophecy that God is going to give a birth to you of a son, a pious son. And she was surprised. How can I have a son when no man has touched me and I'm not being unchaste? Then the angel said that it will be done. It is the destiny, it is the decree of God. Whatever God decrees, it will be done. Okay, what do you think this is, by the way? Since we are in the context of Mary and the birth of Jesus, right? This is apparently in Bethlehem, the birthplace or the actual place of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. So when I went there on Friday morning, just before the Friday prayers, I saw many of our Christian friends up there. And you may not be able to see, this is like a star over here. And underneath that, if you can look down there, they have made some nice, decorative things, just to symbolize that this was the birthplace of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. So when he was born, she took the baby out to her people, and the people started to accuse her. "Oh Mary, how can you do such a thing? You are not how can you do adultery, fornication? You are the sister of Aaron," means, you are from the lineage of Aaron and Moses and really good and honored lineage. How can you do such a thing like that? So at that point, Mary, she remained silent. So this is in chapter 19, verse number 30, by the way. Okay, chapter 19, verse number 30. She remained silent and she pointed to the baby Jesus. And baby Jesus, he started to speak. And he spoke and he said, so this is one of the miracles, by the way. So this miracle is not there in the Bible, in the New Testament, but this miracle is there in the Quran. So baby Jesus, he spoke and he said that I am a servant of God and I am appointed as a prophet. God gave me a gospel and I came for the children of Israel. And God made me to worship him and also made me to give the charity. And then he continued that God has honored me, so peace be. So then it says that peace be upon me when I was born, when I'm going to die, and when I'm going to be resurrected again. So this is the story of Jesus. When he was a baby, this is what he mentioned, right? And this is a really important miracle, by the way. So he defended Mary, the mother of Jesus, because there is no DNA test at that time. There is no test, the medical test as we know. So he started to speak and he started to defend his mother from the accusation.
Masya Allah, penjelasan yang sangat detail dan mudah diterima oleh mereka. Nabi Isa adalah putra Maryam. Jadi di dalam Islam sendiri disebutkan bahwa Nabi Isa lahir adalah dari suatu mukjizat dari seorang Maryam. Yang sering disalahpahamkan atau disalahpahami oleh orang Kristen saat ini, termasuk komentar di dalam channel Marstechno, mengapa Maryam dikatakan saudara Harun. Ini yang sering mereka ulang-ulangi. Al-Qur'an adalah salah. Isa dalam Islam adalah bukan Yesus. Karena di dalam Al-Qur'an dikatakan bahwa Maryam adalah saudara Harun. Mereka tidak mengetahui bahwasanya Al-Qur'an dalam menjelaskan sesuatu itu sangat halus. Maksud dari saudara Harun adalah keturunan Harun, Musa, orang-orang Yahudi yang soleh. Mengapa engkau melakukan perbuatan zina ini, kata orang Yahudi, sedangkan kau ini adalah saudara Harun. Maksudnya keturunan-keturunan Harun, Musa, orang-orang yang soleh. Jadi untuk umat Kristen yang sering berkomentar bahwa Islam salah dalam menempatkan keturunan Maryam, ini adalah jawabannya. Dia adalah keturunan dari orang-orang soleh dari Yahudi termasuk Harun, Musa. Bukan saudara dalam arti sebenarnya kakak dan beradik. Di dalam video ini juga dijelaskan mukjizat dari Nabi Isa AS atau Yesus yang sebenarnya tidak ada di perjanjian lama, yaitu dapat berbicara saat bayi. Dalam pembelaan ibunya yang dituduh oleh orang-orang Yahudi dia telah berzina. Jadi Al-Qur'an adalah pelengkap dari kitab-kitab yang terdahulu yang menjelaskan secara detail rincian bagaimana dari Maryam melahirkan Yesus atau Nabi Isa serta pembelaannya. Nah sahabat, mungkin itu saja sedikit reaksi dari saya mengenai video ini. Mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.